The picture around The Witcher 4 has shifted in a pretty major way recently, and that's the first thing worth sitting with for a moment. This project is no longer just bigger than The Witcher 3 in ambition. It is now clearly being positioned as something far more expansive and ambitious than what most people initially assumed. Thanks to all these new details from CD Projekt Red itself and industry insiders giving away some major details, we now know this project is one that a lot of people should watch out for. They really want that Witcher 4 demo to look like the real game, it seems. Like the video right now, and let's get into it. Early on, there was an expectation that the next Witcher game would be roughly comparable to The Witcher 3 in scale, just modernized with better visuals and smoother systems. But the latest reports, interviews, and internal restructuring at CD Projekt Red point towards something very different. The scope has grown, the team has grown, and the intent behind the project has changed in a fundamental way, because almost every single people at the studio is now working on it. This is now a studio-wide effort, with more people working on it than any previous CD Projekt Red game. That matters because it directly feeds into how dense, reactive, and content-rich this world is meant to be. According to insiders, the decision to push The Witcher 1 remake aside so the entire studio can focus on this sequel is one of the clearest signals yet that this is not a cautious follow-up. This is an all-in project. And as a result, The Witcher 4 is shaping up to be far more detailed than originally thought, not just in visual fidelity but in world design, activity density, and systemic depth. The goal no longer seems to be just a large map, but a world that constantly feels alive and worth engaging with, even outside of structured quests. The move to Unreal Engine 5 plays a major role in this shift. The CD Projekt Red has talked about how the engine allows them to build environments differently from the ground up, with more complex geometry, more natural lighting, more reactive weather, and more believable NPC behavior. All of that feeds into a world that feels less like a game space and more like a living place. While early discussions suggested the map would be similar in size to The Witcher 3, newer reporting implies that the world may feel significantly larger due to how much more there is to do within it. More side content, more emergent encounters, more layered quest lines, and more systems that overlap and interact instead of existing in isolation. This is where the reported budget really comes into focus. Estimates putting the game near an unprecedented cost for the studio are not just about spectacle. They reflect manpower, time, and flexibility. More writers, more quest designers, more world artists, and more technical specialists, all working together toward a game that does not need to compromise on its ambitions. Creatively, the shift away from Geralt and towards Ciri also opens the door to broader storytelling possibilities. Ciri allows the narrative to explore different regions, cultures, and conflicts without stretching the logic of the world. That freedom seems to be a key reason CD Projekt Red is confident in building a much larger and more varied experience this time around. Music is another subtle but important signal. The return of Martin ties this new saga emotionally back to what made The Witcher 3 resonate so deeply, while the addition of a second composer suggests an expanded musical identity rather than a simple retread of familiar themes. There are also strong indications that quest design itself is being rethought. Rather than funneling players from one clearly marked objective to another, the focus appears to be on organic discovery, stories that emerge through exploration, faction involvement, and world events instead of being strictly tied to the main narrative path. This aligns with CD Projekt Red's apparent goal of making the world itself the primary driver of engagement. Players are meant to meaningfully progress through exploration, crafting, relationships, and side systems without feeling like they are stepping away from the core experience. That is where cautious excitement becomes the natural response. On paper, this all sounds incredible, a massive and detailed world, more content than ever before, deeper systems, better technology, and a larger, more experienced team behind it. But ambition cuts both ways. The Witcher 4 is not just a single game. It is the foundation for a new trilogy, which means everything has to work not just once, but repeatedly. Systems need to be flexible, stories need room to grow, and the world needs to support years of expansion without collapsing under its own weight. There is also the question of cohesion. A bigger team and more ideas can result in represent something extraordinary or something unfocused. CD Projekt Red knows this better than anyone, and that awareness seems to be why this project has been approached more carefully and deliberately than anything they've done before. What makes this moment genuinely exciting is not just the scale, but the intent behind it. The Witcher 4 is being built as a long-term flagship, not a reaction to trends, not a rushed sequel, but a defining statement about where CD Projekt Red wants to be as a studio. And beyond everything already discussed, there are signs that this world is meant to evolve after launch as well. CD Projekt Red has openly suggested that additional content could be added post-release if the appetite is there, which implies a foundation designed to support expansion rather than a closed-off experience that ships and stops. That also reinforces the idea that this game is being designed for longevity, not just dozens of hours, but potentially hundreds, depending on how players engage with its systems, factions, and ongoing content. This is the kind of structure that could allow The Witcher 4 to grow in reputation over time, rather than peaking at launch and fading. There are still unanswered questions, especially around how narrative depth will balance against sheer scale, and whether all of these systems will meaningfully reinforce each other. Those concerns are real, and they are worth keeping in mind. But taken as a whole, the pieces coming together around The Witcher 4 point toward one of the most ambitious RPG projects currently in development, not just for CD Projekt Red, but for the genre as a whole. It is far too early to declare it a guaranteed success, but with its expanded scope, larger theme, deeper world design, and willingness to slow down and get things right, this feels like a project with genuine Game of the Year potential if all of its moving parts come together. That is why cautious excitement feels like the right place to land. Not blind hype, not skepticism, but real interest in watching how one of the most ambitious RPGs of the next generation continues to take shape. Beyond everything already discussed, there are several other elements floating around in recent reports and leaks that begin to fill out just how deep and ambitious this game is being shaped. One of the most talked about details is the staggering budget estimate. Multiple analysts have thrown around numbers as high as $800 million, combining development and marketing costs. If accurate, that places The Witcher 4 in the top tier of video game investments worldwide, on par with some of the biggest tentpole franchises. That level of money isn't just about prettier visuals, it often reflects time, team size, licensing layers, and multiple content pipelines. A budget like that can translate into hundreds of quests, hundreds of hours of dialogue, multiple distinct regions of the world, and a narrative ambition that stretches far beyond a single path or a single ending. That's also part of why we saw The Witcher 1 remake postponed. According to recent reports, a very large percentage of CDPR's senior talent, from directors, quest leads, dialogue writers, systems designers, and senior tech artists, was reassigned from the remake to Witcher 4. The remake isn't dead, but it's clearly second priority, and that ties directly into how the world itself is being crafted. There are whispers in leak circles and community rumor threads that the world of Witcher 4 isn't only meant to be bigger, but more varied and impactful than anything in the series before it. NPCs are rumored to have deeper routines and behaviors. Faction allegiances appear to matter dynamically, and certain regional conflicts can shift depending on your choices. For more on The Witcher 4, like the video right now and subscribe to stay tuned.